It is Monday and it's the first day of the new weekly races, which means strategies are not perfected and everyone's a bit rusty when it comes to the first day of the daily races, even though it's a weekly race. As we have taken the challenge upon ourselves to sacrifice our rank and always start last and work our way through the field and have some awesome races sometimes. And every race so far this Monday evening has been epic. As we start in 15th with I'm Drunk also joining me at the back of this race. We've been in each other's lobby every time, and as we've driven, we've constantly been in the same place. And as we get underway for the first lap, everyone through turn 1 relatively cleanly, but as we go up the hill to up the hill to turn 2 and turn 3, it immediately goes a bit crazy. Right on board with Mr. I'm Drunk 73. He's fallen a bit back after turn 1, but that's not the problem here, as what I think is the genesis of Movetto gets taken out, as I'm Drunk is a bit blindsided coming into that corner, probably paying attention to the car that spun out, outbraked himself, comes back on track and gets reset. His race pretty much already over, down 15th, about 10 seconds behind the car ahead. His race is just going to be a salvage run at this point. As we look at the leaders of COTA, RJ, Orange Crayon, those three are going to be fighting for the lead most of this race until I do my best to get involved. As we come down to through the second sector of the first lap, already gaining 1 place, starting 15th, remember. About to got the outside of Code GTR, whatever his name is, as he did give me a bit of a bump coming out of the right hander of the previous section. I think he let me through. He wasn't that quick in the follow-up. I believe he let me through. However, we're up 2 places already, as 2 cars decide to go right into a left-hander, and Code GTR got a half-second penalty, which will serve next lap. Final 2 corners of the first lap. As we look at the race leader, Ken Koda, I believe he started first place. RJ started third. Orange Crayon started second. Already been a bit of a shuffle up for the race leaders as I go side by side at the start of the second lap with the Suzuki Swift, who's got a half-second penalty to serve right now. As we look up the inside of the Suzuki Swift, no we don't, we stake out of it, we go into profile, get a better exit, get a position for good measure, up into P10 now, as we bump draft the Skyline up the hill here to try and get ahead of the Suzuki Swift. I'm getting past the Suzuki Swift anyway, he's got a half-second penalty, but in these kinds of lobbies you don't know what they're going to do. So at this point I stick it to the inside, I keep it there, and I just stick my nose in and say, yep, thank you for that, I'll take 2 places in the space of 2 corners. We go up the hill, we're at P8, we're already halfway up the field, right behind P7. P7 with a half-second penalty to serve at the end of this lap. As we ride on board, we've rewound about 15 seconds, still on lap 2, we're looking at RJ now. Looks like he's looking for a move on P1 of Ken Koda here, as he goes up the hill, going up turn 2, up the hill into turn 3. Does he make a move on the inside of the turn 3 here on the hairpin? As Koda goes a bit wide there, gets a deep entry, low power on the exit. It's allowed RJ to get a great exit and, more crucially, the inside line coming down the hill. As we're still on lap 2, RJ, who started third, has overtaken 2 A+ drivers. RJ was currently ranked B driver. I had a chat with him after the race. Said he's had a few too many rage quits lately after a few events a couple weeks ago. Went all the way down to B. He's now creeping his way back up, and he says to me, I think he's an A driver. Driving right now, he's definitely proving that, as he's put 2 A+ drivers to shame, now in the lead halfway through the second lap of the race. Considering how the first lap went, this lap 2 has been pretty boring from my perspective. Obviously I'm Red X2 if you hadn't figured that out already. As we waited patiently this lap for the car ahead that we got behind at the after turn 3 to serve his penalty, promoted us to P7. P7 in 2 laps is a pretty good result, and we're only 1 corner behind the race leaders. Saying that, we'll go around the next corner, we'll be on the same corner. So we're making really good progress here. As we finish the second lap, the top 3 not really in formation here, they are battling for position, which you're going to notice really quickly. If you battle on this track, you're going to lose about a second every corner you battle into. As Ken Koda goes very wide there, he has to get a half-second penalty there. I don't see any reason why he won't. He'll get it in 3-2. There it is. Half-second penalty from the serve. That'll bring Orange Crayon into contention for P2 here. As Orange Crayon, does he look for a move up the inside? No, as he goes purple in sector 1. Got to find that place. As Ken Koda does something that's he's gonna make a habit of this race. Unfortunately, bumps RJ into turn 3, which unfortunately brings him in line and battling for position coming down the hill. Bit of a dirty move by Ken, and you're going to see it feature a couple times this race, so buckle in. As I'm Drunk has already recovered a P14. He's doing really well. As we rewind to see what happened there. RJ in lead, he got the bump, but he's held position. Ken Coda coming down the hill. 100-meter board, he's braked early here, so he's braked at the right time, and it's just boop. No need for that. If I could penalise that, I'd give him a 2-second penalty for that. Because that was, he's braked early, he's got back on the power, and he's hit it. It's a dick move. RJ, bit of a dodgy move there by him. He's been hit off, and he's kind of blocked Orange Crayon. Obviously, frustration's a bit high there. Orange, yeah, justify it. It's kind of like, no harm, no foul. He hasn't lost a place. And at the same time as well, they're both about to get Ken Coda, who's the real perpetrator here, who should honestly have a 1.5-second penalty for this. I have a lot of frustration with him this race, which you'll see a bit later on. But saying that, he's ghosting through. He's going to be a bit of a pain here. He drops down to P3, Rupert Bongs, and the Constantina effect. And then he bumps like this. This driver is an A+ S tier driver, and he's driving like an AB essentially. Nevertheless, he's fighting for P1 here. On the inside of turn 1, he should have the corner. Does he maintain it? He holds it. He gives Orange Crayon a little bump. So does RJ and Orange Crayon. Orange Crayon not feeling fresh after that. As we look back on myself, still in P7, haven't made any progress this lap, but build a gap to the cars behind. As we think about a move up the inside to the final corner, choose not to. Get a very safe entry to get the power on the exit. And that slingshots us up into P6 as we start the 4th lap of the race. We're up to P6, setting our personal best of the race of a 39.2 so far. As Orange Crayon set the fastest lap a few laps ago. I think lap 2, lap 3 has done a 38.7. 38.7, pretty respectable at this point in the race, especially in the middle of all the battling. Watching back on board with RJ, Ken and Orange Crayon right now. 2 wide into turn 3, he's going to lose you about a second in race pace here. RJ gets a mega exit. He's done that twice now on Ken Coda. Once again, he's gotten the inside line for turn 4. All he's got to do now is hope he doesn't hit him. Saying that though, the top 3 is still miles clear of any pressure from P4 of Joel and Hogan. As RJ gets the move done, secures P1 once again, as Ken, Orange Crayon lead the top 3. We look back on myself and Joel and Hogan in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. It's probably the second pick, I would say. It's definitely got a couple cars in the top 100 times, but the Genesis, the other 98 cars in the top 100 just about, it's the Genesis. If you're using this video to decide if you're going to race a certain car this week, use the Genesis. There's no reason to use anything else. They've put an update out, and the balance is just swinged one way. I don't know how they keep messing it up week on week, month on month. Nevertheless, last lap, got a clean X on the final corner to get an overtake on Tatsuyu. Done the same thing again. Nice clean overtake on Katsu. As we now move up to P5, as the front 3 are moving all over the shop right there, constantly making them lose time. We're reeling them in very slowly. As Katsu puts his hazard lights on to say, hazard, I guess, I don't know. I go over to him cleanly. He went a bit too fast into the final corner, had to compromise his exit speed. Whereas I did the inverse, had a great exit but a slow entry. We watch on board with Joel and Hotkin. Rear view camera. Do I go for the move? Think about it. Katsu right behind me with Tatsuya not far behind me. Keeping each other quite honest with our pace here, as I am right behind Jolan here, right in his draft. Is this going to be where I make a move for P4? Begin my attack, and I do. I send it up the inside. Give plenty of racing room to Jolan, but I managed to get him at just the raw speed of the Genesis allows me to just pull away, try and cover him off. Jolan gives me the space. That could have ended very badly. Jolan very good there, not to cause me any grief there, and he's kind of just released me now, and it's now time to get this race underway with the fastest lap leader, 38.6 from I'm Drunk 73. He's making his way up the field. I think he's about 14 or 13 at this point. We'll have a look at him later as we watch the top three. Ken Ota and Orange Crayon biffing and bashing on each other as we enter the 6th lap of the race. Started 15th, up into 4th, not even half race distance yet, and it's already looking like it's going to be a banger of a finish. RJ's definitely got a little gap now. That's you'd call that breathing space, the space he's got there. It's not enough for anyone to get the draft on him up to the next corner where there's an overtaking opportunity. So turn 3, turn 4 and turn 1. Those are your real overtaking opportunities on the lap. I'm Drunk up into P12 has made significant progress considering he got reset on lap 1. He's in the battle for 9th there, I think. So it's looking like P9 might be his best bet. He'll be lucky to get any higher than that as he goes purple in sector 1 after setting a 38.6 on lap 4. Driving very cleanly in a very tightly knit pack as they go down the hill with 2 of the cars in front of them having a half-second penalty to serve. Emerson Green a bit aggressive on the move as the back 3 just, yeah, they're in their own race unfortunately. As RJ continues to pull a little bit of a gap, Ken Coda, Orange Crayon visibly battling, losing more time to the car ahead as everyone starts to find their own pace, find their battles. The battle for the mid-pack still going strong. As RJ with about a 2-second lead right now, Orange and Ken Coda battling in, going wide, biffing and bashing here. Is this my opportunity to get a double overtake coming out the final corner as they go very fast into each other, into the final corner, which if you go fast into each other, you're going to slow out the corner. Orange half-second penalty to serve. Ken Coda holding P2 for the moment as we got the inside of Orange Crayon, secure P3 for the moment as immediately we set our sights on Ken Coda, getting a much better exit than he does. Looking for a move, he's pushing me to the left. If you want to race here at turn 3, you've got to have the inside line. As we get ahead before the corner, Ken Coda goes to cover off Orange Crayon. I send it, he gets bumped, Orange Crayon bumps me, gets squeezed in. First bit of understanding of why they're falling behind RJ so much. The driving by these 2 guys frustrates me for about a lap here as we lose time on turn 1, having to go too wide to turn 1. Got bumped into turn 3 as we send it up the inside of Ken Coda. Very clean move, using the draft of Orange Crayon to get that overspeed and just securing that inside line. The inside line is the only way to overtake this week. At turns 1, 3 and 4, you need a slow entry and a fast exit coming out the final corner to slingshot past someone into turn 1, which you overtake on the inside. However, look at RJ, who cut the inside curb coming down the hill there. That's going to give him a 1-second penalty. Very, very unlucky by him. And you'd argue that it's not even a penalty and the way he's cut it here, but rules is rules, and he has been handed a very nice 1-second penalty. Not good for him, good for the race, as he serves his 1-second penalty. Crayon now will serve his half-second penalty, and Ken Coda is going to do one last thing to me before I get to pull away. Goes for Rhythms Never On, brakes early, like he did with RJ earlier on, and then just lets go of the brake and sends it. I was praying to God I don't get a penalty there. The other got pushed off, so I just was able to full send it back on the track. No one got damaged from that. I think only Ken Coda should have, in my opinion, as it cost us about 3 seconds of lap time. As you see the distance, RJ already going through turn 1, getting about 2.5 seconds of gap there. It's all happening rapidly as we start lap 8, 5 laps around the track to go. RJ got quite a big gap at this point, looks to be about 3 or 4 seconds. Orange Crayon, Ken, right next to each other, those 2 going side by side. That slowed them down just a little bit, coming down the hill now, and it's kind of given me that breathing space that they gave RJ about on lap 3 or 4. Looking down the order, KOG2, who had around 14th at the start of the race, all the way up into 8th place now with I'm Drunk up into 9th. He's cleared the entire mid-pack there, but he's got a half-second penalty to serve. Here's hoping he can keep making his way up the field. He's in P9 now, maybe a top 8 finishes on the cards, but that's another 5 seconds upfield with KOGT. Down the field, the back markers having their own little battles. RJ has another half-second penalty to serve. Doesn't have to serve it this lap though, so he's got another lap. He must have just got it coming out of the first left-hander. Probably ran a bit wide as he went into the second left-hander. I don't know the names of the corners. Probably should have learned them, but here we are. If you're still here, sorry. But looking at the back markers, they're on a little battle. You know, they're the Salvas of the lobby. The Ferraris, if you look at their pace lately, goodness me. As RJ starts the 9th lap, 4 laps to go. My pace rocketing out. To the 37.9, the lap I caught up to Crayon and Ken. Pace dropped off a little bit, maybe that 8/10 is from draft. The race has now settled down a fair bit, so we're looking at lap 10. Just the gap slowly closing up. RJ getting a penalty here and there. So I'm just going to fast forward through the lap. Ken's going to get another penalty on. He got the penalty on the exit of that right-hander this time. Run wide. Not only did he lose time from sitting tyres there, he's got a half-second penalty. Suffered that penalty a lot last week. Going through Daytona, losing time through understeer, and then you still get a half-second penalty. You subconsciously slow down not to cheat, and then you still get a penalty for it. It's like I've lost half a second already. But anyway, it's the final lap. I'm half a second behind, I'm guessing. And Orange Crayon keeping me honest, making sure that if I go for a move too ballsy, I'm going to lose second and go down to third. Because if too aggressive, I'm going to be basically lose a second, he'll be in the move. So I've got to choose my point here. And immediately there, I'm like, okay, turn 3 is where I'm going to make my attempt. But RJ, brilliant defensive driving, covers the inside line. I've been saying it all race. The inside line is where you want to be to overtake. It's also where you want to be when you want to defend. He waited for me to brake here. Waited. You'll see him go very deep here. Very similar to 2016 Rosberg and Hamilton at Red Bull Ring. His move made me have to change my line, compromise my exit. As you can see, I've dropped off a bit there. I was thinking if my move didn't work, I'd be going for a move up here, but I'm just too far back. There's nothing more I can do except force a mistake from RJ. Get him another half-second penalty. Keep the pressure on him. Maybe find a way to slingshot out of the final corner. I'm thinking about what I can do. While all this is going on, I'm drunk. Has moved up into P7 from being nowhere, from having his race ruined, avoiding an accident, avoiding crashing into me, which has allowed me to have this amazing race today, is now coming to the last 2 corners where I am going to give it everything to get hard of it, ahead of RJ, with Orange Crayon right behind him, Ken Coda in P4. He should be disqualified, but that's a story for another day, as RJ just needs to keep it on the track for the last corner, getting as close as I can. But it just wasn't meant to be. And it's probably one of the best sport races I've had in a long time. And I am very pleased with how that race went. Would have loved the race win, but this is the racing I love. This is the racing you don't get when you're in 8+ and you start all the way at the front and you start second. You come second because everybody's driving on rails and are the same thing all the time. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've got anything else you want to do, subscribe, follow. I'm hoping to do more of this stuff in the future. F125 is coming out, and I'm sure as hell going to be hosting some F125 lobbies like I used to if you used to race with me back then in 21, I think it was. Have a great day.